This is Sean. I'm here today to talk about being released from prison and what it's like. I'm outside today in a park, so do me a favor, can you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and give me a like, and leave me a comment. I always answer my comments. Just got a call today from a guy who's got to turn himself in a couple months, and was able to set his mind at ease, answer a few questions, what it's going to be like. He's going to a camp, and he's only got to do a year, but he's going to get through it. Things are going to be okay, and life will go on. So somebody left me a comment yesterday about what it's like to be released. Do they just... So I was in Florence, Colorado, but I'm from the Bay Area, San Francisco. He said, do they just set you out the gate and you find your way back home? Well, the thing is, everybody that gets released has federal probation after that. 1 to 5 years. 3 is the average. I got the average. I got 3 years federal probation. Plus, I had to turn myself into a halfway house. So I got 5 months halfway house time because I did the RDAP program. Actually got 6 months halfway house. They took a month off because of the First Step Act. So when I got to the halfway house, they said, you don't have to stay here 6 months, you only got to stay here 5. Now, the halfway house is like a Motel 6 work furlough. So when you get there, you get drug tested, you get breathalyzed every day, by the way. At least mine did. They would swab you with a Q-tip swab for the drug test and make you breathe into a thing every time you went in and out of the building. And you're only allowed to go out for work. You can go out an hour a week to go by hygiene and stuff like that. They supposedly give you a church pass, which this one never did. And supposedly you can go to AA meetings, and I got to go to maybe 4 AA meetings the whole time I was there. I tried every day to go, but they weren't going for it. But when I got released, I had 30 hours to get to San Francisco. So they buy you a bus ticket. Well, let me back up a little. So getting released, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, okay? There's guys who have worked their way down from the penitentiaries and the mediums and lows, and they're at a camp and they've just done 25 years, and they're getting released. They still have probation. The only people that get released and you're free are those who are there on a violation. So if I was to test dirty, I still got 2 more years federal probation. Let's say I give them a dirty test on Monday. My probation officer's gonna give me a court date. He's gonna violate me, or he could remand me right there. And either way, they're gonna violate me. They're gonna send me back to a camp, probably to a camp. And usually it's 6 months for one dirty test. And I hear you don't even get second chances. Once in a while, maybe you could do a drug program instead. But the norm is 6 months violation. But they don't start my probation over. So let's say I only had 6 months left to go to get off probation, and I violate and I'm dirty. Well, they're going to give me 6 more months in the camp, but when I'm out of there, I'm done. A lot of times, so I got 2 years left. Let's say I come up dirty. They violate me. They send me to the camp. A lot of times, they'll just smash your paper after that. And you could just be free. That's the only time I see people get free. So for me, this isn't going to end for 2 more years. And I was on pretrial for 4 years, 3 years in the prison, the halfway house, 3 years federal probation. Plus, they raided my house a year before I got indicted. So we're talking, it's been a 10-year sentence. And pretrials, nothing nice. My pretrial was worse than probation. They tested me all the time. I had very little say in the way I lived my life on pretrial. I was lucky enough not to have to spend it locked up waiting sentencing, but it is what it is. Probation now, it's not so bad, but I live a clean and sober life now. I go to AA meetings. I live in a clean and sober house. I never give them a dirty test. I don't break any rules, any laws. I don't hang around felons and convicts. It's okay for me to talk to guys I went to prison with. That's what they're talking about, because I can go to AA meetings and it could be full of felons. So they don't mean like you can't hang around felons in recovery. They mean hanging out with the guys on the corner liquor store, or hanging out with my drug tweaker friends, or, you know, some ex-girlfriend who's still smoking the pipe and hanging out with her. I can't do that. That'll get me thrown in prison. Those are just bad decisions that I don't make anymore. So let me talk about when I did get released. Did I sleep the night before? Not really. Maybe for 2 hours. They released me at like 6 in the morning. So when you get released, you can have your family members pick you up at the gate if they've been approved by your counselor, if they've done the background check. Their car that they're picking you up in has to be registered, it has to be insured, that has to be approved, everything. And then your family can pick you up and take you to your halfway house, or some guys go straight to home confinement. Not everybody gets a halfway house. Some people don't want the halfway house. Let's say you're doing a 5-year sentence and you didn't do RDAP. You don't have to take the halfway house. And some guys don't want it, and they're only going to give them 2 months halfway house time anyways. Because like I said, it's a work furlough Motel 6. When you get to the halfway house, they want you to work. They take 25% of what you make. The rest they want you to save. And you only go in and out to go to work, an hour a week to go to the store and buy things, and the rest of the time you're stuck at that halfway house. So it's not always the best choice. And sometimes the halfway house isn't where you live. So for instance, in California, they've only got 2 halfway houses in the Bay Area, one in San Francisco and one in Oakland. And if you live in Sacramento, or you live in Mendocino, or you live in Fresno, you have to go to the San Francisco one. And then when your time's up, then you can go home. I'm gonna walk a little. I got some people behind me. So, but I'm free, so it's okay. In prison, everybody can hear what you say. So they gave me 30 hours to get to San Francisco to the halfway house. So I had a town driver pick us up, and he took us from Florence, Colorado to Pueblo, Colorado. And I just didn't want these people to hear what I'm saying. But so the bus station was in Pueblo, Colorado, and they give you a bus ticket and they pay for it. They give you a little gate money. They gave me like $30 for food, and they gave me $20 to catch a cab from the San Francisco bus station to the halfway house. But I kept the money and walked because it was only a 4-block walk, and I knew that going in. So I got $50 out of them. I had maybe $80 left on my books, so I wasn't hurting, but I mean, that's all the money I had. So anyways, when they dropped me off at the bus station, the bus came, and I had to make 3 changes of buses. I had to go from Pueblo to Denver, change buses again to go to from Denver to Salt Lake City, change buses again to go from Denver to Reno, change buses again, and go from Reno to San Francisco. So when I got to Denver, the next bus was late. It was late 2 hours. Now, I got a certain time to be at the halfway house. I think I had to be there by 6 p.m. So when I got released, it was July 30th, 2017. I'll never forget that day. And July 31st at 6 p.m., I had to be at the halfway house. So I'm already running 2 hours behind. You don't get a cell phone. There's no way to call the halfway house and let them know that you're going to be late unless you borrow somebody's phone, right? So I still had a 4-hour window, and I knew I was good. When I got to Salt Lake City, they put us on an Amtrak train because they said the Greyhound bus no longer has a contract to drive across the Nevada desert. So we have to take the Amtrak train from Salt Lake City to Reno and then get back on to a Greyhound. So in the middle of the Nevada desert, the train stops because there's a freight train in front of it broken down, and we were out there for 6 hours. Now I'm going to be late to the halfway house. And if you don't show up at the halfway house, guess what? There's a warrant for your arrest. The marshals come and get you. You go back to prison. So now I got to find a way to call this halfway house. I got a phone number, but I don't have a phone. And I don't want to ask anybody, can I borrow their phone? Have you ever tried to walk up to a stranger and ask to borrow their phone? So I'm on the train, and I asked one guy, and he says, maybe later, ask me later. Another lady looked at me, you don't have a phone? I said, no, and I didn't want to say. I said, well, look, I just got out of prison, and I guess you can hide your phone. It keeps it away from me. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I didn't want to keep asking people. I overheard a conversation from the girl in front of me on her phone talking about how she had been to jail before years ago, and something about probation. And I go, I could ask her, she'd understand. So I said, excuse me, you think I could borrow your phone? I said, I just got out of prison, and since this train's broken down, I'm going to be late to my halfway house. And she said, yeah, she let me use her phone. So I called the halfway house. Guess what? They don't answer. They have hit 1 for the director, 2 for the assistant director, 3 for the counselor, hit 0 for the operator, hit 0 for the operator. It rings and rings and rings. No message on it, nothing. So I called back, and I left a message with button number 1, button number 2, button number 3, button number 4. Now the girl wanted her phone back because I'm sitting there dialing. I told her they're not answering. So she let me borrow her phone about 5 more times, and every time I called, nobody would answer at the halfway house. Finally, about 5 hours later, I got somebody to answer on one of those lines at the halfway house. And they said, okay, well, there's nothing you could do about it. Just get here when you can. So instead of getting there at 6 o'clock, I got there like 1:30 in the morning to the halfway house. And I thought, oh no, I'm in trouble. Now, when I got to the halfway house, everything was cool. They were fine with it. They said, we got your message. And I said, well, why didn't you guys answer the phone? They said, we're busy. We don't answer the phone when we're busy. Gee, great. So anyways, that's my story about getting released. The one thing that I forgot to mention, so when I got to Pueblo, Colorado, from the town driver dropped me off, the first thing I did, I found a Carl's Jr. and I ordered a double Western bacon cheeseburger with chili cheese, curly fries, and a chocolate shake. That's the first thing everybody wants to do when they get released. I don't know if this video helps, but I got a lot better videos coming out, but that's what happens when you get released. Thanks for listening. Hit subscribe, hit the like.